Hi, welcome to the Craft Channel. My name's Corinne Bradd, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about die cutting. If you've never tried it before, it's one of those crafts that's exploded onto the market in about the last 10 years. And it's very, very simple. It can make beautiful crafters of all of us. I've got some tattered lace dies here, and tattered lace are renowned for their intricate dies, their beautiful designs. So you can create paper cut type cards without the effort, almost. You know, something like this, it would take you hours to cut this out by hand. And what a die is, I mean, the main word for it, you know, the main explanation for a die is something that doesn't change its shape. It, you know, so the die is cast, as it were. The thing comes out exactly the same every time, and that's why these are called dies. It's got nothing to do with dyeing. Now these are steel dies, and they have got a raised cutting pattern on them, but you can run your finger over them, you're not going to hurt yourself. You can press them against your skin, you're not going to hurt yourself. Die cutting is a great craft that you can do with your kids, in fact, because apart from possibly getting their fingers trapped in the rollers, there's not a lot that can go wrong, and there's not a lot that they can hurt themselves with. So with this intricate die, I'm going to cut out a background design. What I would recommend with these thin dies is you don't use any cardstock that's over about 230 grams per square metre. You know, the dies are you can only cut out the thickness of the die. So if you get like a 300-400 micron card, you can't expect the blade to be able to cut through that depth because the blade simply isn't long enough. But you can use a thin cardstock or a thick paper stock and it will cut out with ease. Take your cardstock, put your die cutting side down on your cardstock, like so. And these, what we tend to call wafer thin dies, will work in most brands of die cutting machine. I have no preference as to the type of die cutting machine, but I do tend to like one that is a roller, you know, hand driven roller one. Now you can't see what I'm doing here, so I'm just going to bring it over here. If you put your paper and die face down on your lower cutting plate, and then you place the other clear acrylic plate on the top of it, and do it carefully without moving the die around. You put it through your machine and you wind your handle like so. And if you have used a card and you think, well, maybe it's a bit too thick, what you can do is you can just, before you take it out, wind it back again. And then when you lift your paper and die from the cutting plate, you will see here, and actually just pull it out, this has perfectly die cut your design. Possibly the most time consuming part of this is using a pokey stick tool to simply poke out those tiny pieces, like so. And it's just about, it's not the fact that they haven't cut, it is just simply because they're held in there by static almost. They have cut right through, like this. The bigger pieces you can just get out with a thumbnail. But do you see what I mean by the intricacy of this design? You know, you've got these lovely butterflies here with the patterns on their wings. You know, if you were to mount this on a plain piece of white card or a plain colour piece of card, you could then use ink pens to colour in the apertures if you wished. But that's essentially what die cutting is. It is cutting the same shape time and time again from one single die, and you can utilise the fact that it never changes, it never stretches, it never goes, you know, larger or smaller or on the skew or anything like this. So if you want to make a card like this one, which is that butterfly die that you've just seen me use, you've got a green background, and then what I've done is I've cut another shape out of gold, and then simply where you've got these little butterfly designs, I've taken a pair of scissors. In fact, I'll show you on this one. In fact, I'll show you on this one with a piece of navy blue behind it, because I'm green on green on green. You won't ever see what I'm talking about. If you just take a pair of scissors and follow the line of that butterfly, to cut it out like this, and then you can simply layer it back over the top, so you can build up a three-dimensional effect. So you're not just stuck with having that same design, you can take elements of that design and build up your card to personalise it. So that's one thing that you can do with intricate dies. Let me just put this to one side and I'll show you a quick method of cutting concentric dies. Let's pop him back in his folder. Again, here I've got a lovely set of dies here, Tattered Lace. This is a it's not winter at all, a Woodland Wonder Stag. And without Woodland Wonder Stag, I mean, there's lots of dies in this pack. You've got a stag's head, a pair of birds on a branch and a vine. And I've made this card using most of the images that are on there. But you've also got is a set of concentric circles. And sometimes it's quite nice. If you're die cutting something, you die cut your shape and then there's a bit left in the middle that almost goes to waste. So if you're die cutting your largest circle, what you might as well do is grab yourself some washi tape. This is incredibly sticky, this washi tape. And just stick a strip across the back of your die. So that's the area of the die that you don't cut, you don't cut with, rather. Like so. If you find the centre of your circle on a gridded cutting mat, which is not so easy now because I've put the washi tape right across where the centre is, but yeah, that looks about right. Then what you can do is you can take the concentric rings and you can place them inside the largest one, and they're held down in place with that strip of washi tape that you've put along the back. And the washi tape is thin enough that it's not going to disturb the action as you run it through the machine. So you can take that, if you take yourself, let's find a colour other than green so you can actually see what I'm doing. I haven't got any colours other than green, that's ridiculous. Hold on a minute. That's a purple here. So take your dies that you have placed together and just pop it face down onto the card. And then as before, you get your lower cutting mat, place it on there, put this one on top, and simply run it through your die cutting machine. What you'll find, because you're cutting 3 dies at once, you will need to, I would think, take it back again. I tend to, as a matter of course now, run my dies through twice before even looking at it, because there's nothing worse than realising it hasn't cut quite through and then you struggle to get it exactly in the right place again. One other note about when you're die cutting, with these mats, this one I've kept for the top and there's no marks on it so far. This one I've kept for the bottom, and as you can see it gets scored. That's perfectly normal, that's what normally happens. What I would recommend you do is you cut in different areas of the mat, you flip it over now and again, and then when that gets too scored you use this as your top mat and start again. If you continue to cut in the middle on one side, that mat will eventually bow out a little bit. It's perfectly normal, everybody gets it, but it doesn't mean you have to throw your mat away. There's years and years of cuts in those mats if you just use them sensibly and rearrange them each time. But back to the dies, my lovely concentric circle dies. Just pop this out like this. And actually I'll take the tape off the back. and save it for later. And that's another good thing actually about washi tape as well. That's great for die cutting because it's low enough tack, it won't rip the surface of your card as you're trying to pull it out. So you've not only got, from that one die cutting action, you've not only got the actual frames. Let's just poke that out with a pokey tool. The slightly embossed frames, but you've got extra frames, and provided you've positioned those dies properly, you should find that you know they're as circular and accurate as the ones in the die themselves. So if you've got a concentric set of 3 circle dies, you can actually make 5 rings and a centerpiece from those 3 dies. So there's lots of ways that you can utilise your dies, any die, to make extras. Even when you cut out an image, if you've cut it out from a nice big piece of card and you've got a silhouette aperture in that piece of card, you can use that as a card blank. So die cutting is not a scary thing at all. Die cutting will open, you know, it will open up a wealth of other crafts that you can do, wealth of other things that you can do with your paper crafting. I just wanted to show you this card as well actually that I made. I'm not going to make it in full because we don't have time today, but this is with the bird on a branch die, and because you've got these little marks here with the feather marks and the tail marks and the leaf veins and the branch veins, you've made almost like a 3-dimensional motif from one single die cut, and then you can just colour it, the feathers in with alcohol markers, and rather than it be a flat 2-dimensional outline, you've now got a really attractive card that looks almost lifelike. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I hope if you've been considering die cutting and you don't really know where to start, that you're going to be tempted to go out and treat yourself to some beautiful dies. So there's another one I was going to show you here, the squirrel die with the oak leaves. Have a look on their website, details of which are below, and you can see there's so many patterns on there now that you won't know where to start buying, to be quite honest. But if you've never tried die cutting before, now is the time, because the choice that's out there is amazing and it really isn't as difficult as the finished result might look. I hope you enjoyed this brief run through of how to start die cutting. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.